When I first moved into the neighborhood, I thought it was going to be a fresh start for me and my family, a chance to finally settle down in a peaceful community where everyone minded their own business and supported each other. But that dream was shattered the moment I met Karen, the self-appointed queen of the neighborhood who believed she had the power to control every single person around her. At first, it started with small things. She would glare at me whenever I parked my truck in front of my house. She would walk past my yard and make snide comments about how the grass was not trimmed to her standards. She would even stand at the corner of the street watching like a hawk, as if waiting for me to make a mistake so she could pounce. I tried to ignore it because I did not want conflict. I had moved here for peace, not drama, but Karen was not the type to be ignored. She thrived on control, and the moment she saw that I would not bow to her demands, she escalated one evening. As I was fixing up the fence, she stormed into my yard without knocking or asking permission. Her arms crossed tightly, her face twisted with that signature smirk she used. Whenever she was about to cause trouble, she said, "You do not belong here. People like you bring down the value of this neighborhood, and if you do not start following the rules, I will have you removed." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I had worked my whole life to finally buy this home, and now this woman was threatening to kick me out, like I was some kind of intruder. I asked her politely what rules I had broken, because as far as I knew, I had not done anything wrong. She laughed in my face and said, "The rule is simple. Whatever I say goes." From that day forward. The harassment only grew worse. She started sending letters claiming to represent the HOA, even though I later learned she was not even an official board member. She would write up fake violation notices saying my fence was too tall, my driveway had cracks, my garbage cans were not hidden properly. Each notice came with a threat that if I did not fix these so-called issues, I would be fined or forced to leave. My wife could see the stress building in me. She tried to reassure me, saying that bullies like Karen only had as much power as you gave them. But it was hard to ignore someone who seemed determined to destroy our peace every single day. And then came the breaking point, the moment when Karen pushed too far and revealed her true colors. It was a Saturday morning when the incident happened. I was outside washing my truck, enjoying the quiet, when suddenly I heard yelling from across the street. Karen was marching toward me, waving a clipboard in her hand like it was some kind of weapon. She shouted, "You have 1 week to repaint your house, or I will make sure you are evicted." I stood there stunned. The paint on my house was fine. It was not falling apart or peeling. It was perfectly normal. I told her calmly that there was nothing wrong with my home, and she had no authority to make such demands. That only made her angrier. She slammed the clipboard against her chest and sneered, "I am the voice of this neighborhood, and if you do not listen, I will have the police involved." Neighbors started coming out of their homes, watching the scene unfold. Some of them whispered among themselves, clearly uncomfortable, but no one dared to confront her. They had probably seen what happened to others who stood against her, because I later learned that I was not the first victim Karen had bullied. I told her firmly that if she stepped onto my property again without permission, I would call the police myself. Her face turned red. Her voice shook with rage. She pointed a finger at me and said, "You will regret this. You will not last long in this neighborhood." After she stormed off, my wife came outside. She had heard everything. She placed a hand on my shoulder and told me not to let Karen intimidate us. But inside, I was boiling over. I was tired of being treated like an outsider. I worked hard to provide for my family, and no self-entitled neighbor had the right to threaten us. Over the next few days, Karen escalated further. She filed false complaints to the county, saying that my dogs were aggressive, even though they were gentle family pets. She complained to the city about noise violations when my house was completely quiet. She even tried to block delivery trucks from parking near my house by standing in the middle of the street, claiming they were breaking community rules. The final straw came one evening when I returned from work and found a bright red notice taped to my door. It said, "Violation, failure to comply with neighborhood standards. Eviction proceedings will begin soon." My stomach dropped as I read the paper. My wife and kids looked terrified. But as I read further, I noticed something strange. The letter was full of spelling errors and had no official HOA letterhead. It was fake. Karen had made it up herself. That was the moment I realized enough was enough. This was not just about